All right, thank you for clicking that thumbnail over here, Pepe Love View. This is part 2 of my video that I'm doing on the Eboni K Williams statement. But again, I'm not so much talking about Eboni K Williams as much as I'm talking about a mind frame or a way of life or a way of thinking or what have you. And so in the last video, I was about to start to talk more and get more in depth, and I was about to approach an hour, and I didn't want to go any further into that video. So it looks like there's going to be a part 2 of this early in the morning. I ended that video, the first part, talking about Black people, brown-skinned people in the urban community, the history, the heritage. We don't even have to debate that. If we're still debating what brown and Black-skinned people, African Americans have contributed to just Africa or contributed to America and so on and so forth, if we're still having that debate, then we are so far behind and lost. Do you understand? What I don't understand at this moment in time, why we still continue to perpetuate that we are the lowest of the low. Now, I think there are 2 things that we have at play here. We have the initiative, but not only do we have the initiative and taking the initiative, but we also have a tendency to also need to endure what it is that we're faced with and trying to accomplish, with the understanding that there's one individual or a community, another group of people who don't want to see you succeed. See, it's bigger and greater to me than just this. It really is. Because we have made those contributions. And what I don't understand, I try to get it. We have taken a personal preference, and then we have taken it and we have made it something. We're missing the bigger picture. There are so many sayings in this that when I think about my mother and the things that my mother would say to me as a child, there's one saying that's just very popular. It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. That saying. It's a dirty job, somebody has to do it. A bus driver. Let's just use the bus driver. She says, I'm not going to date a bus driver allegedly. That's fine. Who's going to bus your child to school if you can't get them there? He's good enough to bus your child to school. He's good enough to get you back and forth from point A to point B. I'm talking about in the community. You have, bus transportation in communities, right? He doesn't make enough. Well, I don't know what bus drivers make, but I'm just talking about in general. What happens if you find out he's a bus driver and he makes $100,000 a year? Is he good enough then? See, which one is it? Is it the income or is it what he does for a living? That's the issue. See, right now in education, and I'm only going from an educational standpoint, what's happening in education also too, we've talked a lot about education, but there are some good things going on in education too. And the good things are going on in education is the statement that this young lady just made, and that is that we want our young people, when they graduate high school, we already want them to be set up to be successful. Whether they're going into college or whether they're going into the career force, we want them to be set up to succeed. And as we do that, as we want them to be set up to succeed, sometimes we have some little Johnnies who say, and I know this for a fact, who would say, I'm not going to college. I'm just not going to go. I just don't want to do that. You know, my dad, you know, he's a truck driver. He has trucks. Like, I've been driving trucks with my dad, you know, since I can remember. That's what he does. We put food and stuff on. You know what I'm saying? We have a very comfortable lifestyle, and I do that already. So that's what I'm going to do. And guess what little Johnny is going to do? Little Johnny is going to go. He's probably going to get his CDL, and he's going to drive trucks. And he's going to get your goods to the location that they need to get to so that you can look the way you look and do what you do and have what you have. Because if he does not get your goods and services to you, see, he's good enough to get, is he good enough to get your goods and services to you, but he's not good enough to date? Are you more concerned now about the income? Or is it his profession? It's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. Which one is it? Because if you're saying that he can't support you, then that's something totally different. Then I say, well, she's looking at it like, man, I don't know what you're going to do. You want him? Well, she's saying this is not good enough for her. Are you going to change her profession and get, you know, make more money? Or are you going to still be a bus driver and supplement your income in order for you to get into a tax bracket in which she says, well, you qualify, but is she still going to look down on you because you got A's, you got C's and D's in school, or D's and F's in school? Is that what it is? So then you have to pull out your report cards. And then you got to say, well, these are my grades. Oh, you got A's and B's? So now, is it possible that there are bus drivers and truck drivers out there who are just doing it because, well, it's a family, you know, business, and I just want to stay in the family business. I'm smart enough. I can do and make good grades. I'm not driving a bus because I didn't get good grades. I'm driving a bus because that's what I want to do for a living. So I guess what we're saying is we need to stop for a minute and look at the individual. Are we talking about an individual with low expectations and just saying, man, I don't want to do nothing all day but just smoke and drink and be a gamer? That's all I want to do. We just have to be mindful. But then I'm going back to what I was saying at the top of the video. And at the top of the video, oh my gosh, time is ticking by. I probably won't have enough time even for this video. But as we continue to talk about this, I'm talking about a community of people who have always built, and nothing is never good enough. And we've always had a system that's in place to make low expectations the norm. And then point the finger and say it's your fault. Wonderful gaslighting, isn't it? I'll give myself another 10 minutes or so and I'll be done. I'll try to be done. We're talking about a community over here. We're talking about a community of people who I think at this moment in time, and this is just my opinion, just off observation, I think we get it. I think we understand full well what is happening and what is going on. I think the issue that we're having is that what are we going to do about it? Is it more of an individual thing? Is it more of a group thing? Which one is it at this moment in time? There's another saying. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Are we talking about accountability? Are we talking about low expectations? Are we talking about income? I think we're talking about all of it at this moment in time. And see, I'm wise enough to know not to go in on my dear sister over here, I guess. I heard somebody make a comment that she's African American, but at the same time, her husband is Caucasian, and that she doesn't have a point. I don't think that has anything to do, as my mother would say, that has nothing to do with the prices of eggs in China. So where are we in the midst of all of this is what I want to know. Where are we? What are we doing here? There is a saying sometimes in education. I've heard this conversation a lot. There are some students, and I don't want these students and the parents of these students to I don't know, to take this out of context. No matter, for whatever reason, you can give little Johnny all of the tools and resources and all of the different ways to learn math. And for whatever reason, little Johnny is always going to make a C. Do you see what I'm saying? Like every now and then he might reach a B. But for whatever reason in this subject area, I don't know. It's just sometimes something is not clicking. So I don't want that. I don't want that little Johnny to be the one who gets discouraged because of that. There's also another little Johnny out there who's very smart. Not only is he smart, he's talented, but he lives in a community where I have to downplay being smart and I have to downplay being talented, because if they find out I'm smart and I'm talented, I'm a target. What do you say to that, little Johnny? These are real scenarios. And when you find out he can't really do it, but it's more of a survival skill than anything, then what do you say to him? I'm just throwing things out there. What do you say to a little Johnny who is very smart and talented and family doesn't have resources to get him to college? There's scholarships, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. But there's no family support in that area. Not that his family doesn't want him, because there's just no support. What do you do and say to that little Johnny? I'm glad that this has come up. This is an issue that's going to be debated for a while. I got a feeling. And here's the thing that I'm going to say. I don't necessarily think that Eboni needs to change her mind frame. This is not a video here to bash Eboni K Williams. She doesn't, for me, she doesn't have to take back any of the things she said. At this moment in time, she can continue to go on with her life and talk about this. See, I'm a person who I can listen and I can receive what this woman is saying and go, oh, okay, that's one way of looking at it. There are a lot of women out there who agree, don't see anything wrong with what Eboni said. It's a lot of women. But money can't buy your love. But money is definitely a resource. It's a tool you definitely need. You'll get to love it. You hopefully you'll be able to fall in love with him maybe 5-10 years from now, and probably at that moment in time you're going through a divorce. Who knows? This is interesting. Because time is of the essence, and I do have things I have to get done and get moving and get going. It looks like I'm going to be behind some minutes. We're going to go ahead on and we're going to stop the video right here, but I think I'm going to do a part 3. Yeah. Anywho, thank you for clicking that thumbnail over here, Pepe La View. I appreciate it. I'm yours truly, Pepe. I am. Woo. And don't forget that over here, we want you to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And remember, whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, I love you, but God loves you best. And on that note, I'll see you next video. I'm looking forward to it. And until then, you know what to do out there. You guys take care of yourselves.